tips to excel on the telephone now more than ever. First, everything we talked about so far. Vocal power, essential on the telephone. Clarity, essential on the telephone. The pause when you're saying your name, your company, your telephone number, essential. Keep practicing, because I know for some of you it didn't feel natural. The only way to make it feel natural is to keep practicing. So let's move to what I think is so much fun. We talked about vocal presence. We are going to shift into body language. It has been said that body language is 55% of the impression we make. 55%. How much do you think our words count? Either shout it out or put it in. This is my most fun to see. So put it in the chat. How much? 50%, 10%, 13%, 40%. What do you think? Stephanie, call out some of the numbers.
50%, 75%, 35%, 45%, 60%, 25%.
Okay, so far you are all wrong. Our body language is 55%. I just spent a lot of time on voice, because how we say something matters. Voice is 38%. So all of you numbers people, that leaves 7% for the actual words. 7%. You see that? 7%. That research has stood the test of time. Think about those presentations, and I just was reviewing feedback that one of my clients got from his company in his presentation. He knew the stuff, he knew the information, but it was his delivery that got him poor grades. So no one even knew what he was saying. They knew he had the knowledge, but he scored low because of how he said. The comments were, he wasn't interested, he didn't sound confident. Well, we already dealt with the confidence in terms of our voice. Let's talk about our body. This is one of my favorite topics. Here are just 4 of my many, many, many clients that I have taken shots of and decapitated them all, because I love it. It's real. I used to use, a stock photo, but this is real. The person on the top that's standing hired me to work on a presentation. He was being honored. He was front cover of a magazine, and he was being honored at a luncheon. So he wanted to practice his presentation. He stood up, and if you all can't see, he's picking his fingers. He's very involved with the DNC and has hosted many an event. Again, what does his presence say? Does he look like a confident presenter? The person on the bottom, high-level executive in a professional sports team. We always, when we start with someone, an individual working on presentation skills, we do a video clip. His entire video, he had no awareness that he was playing with that water bottle. The gentleman on the top, playing with his pen. We get that a ton. And again, the executive on the bottom, picking his fingers. Can you imagine? You're looking at this and you're probably thinking, really? But some of you are doing that, I promise. I have the most fun talking about body language. And I'm going to try now to shift quickly into kind of standard body language live in person, and a little bit of the adjustment for when we are virtual. I always like to do it kind of head to toe. So I'll try to remember live versus virtual. So again, string up to the ceiling, good posture. More than ever, in your chair, in your virtual meetings, posture. The overriding comment that I made about a lot of your introductions was kind of where your body was on the screen. When I was working with a client this week and he had this important meeting, we really spent time even positioning. You don't want to be kind of all in, and you don't want to be the shrinking violet, which a few of you, believe it or not, you started at your chin. So all you kind of have was your mouth up to your head. So watch on the video how you see yourself. We want you to exude confidence even on this call, not being a little shrinking violet. Let me just see some other ones. A lot of you were just down kind of low. So own your space, whether you're live or in person, live or virtual. Eyes, we alluded to it before. When you're live and in person, look at your audience, whether it's 1, 3, 5, or 50. When I'm in a group of 20 to 25, every single person feels my eye contact. I want you to think about that. Every single person, 20, 25 people. When we're on the virtual, try to practice keeping your eyes up at the camera. Because I definitely saw some people who were looking down considerably when they were introducing themselves. I believe the camera is on top for most computers. I don't know about where webcams are or anything like that. So keep in mind your eye contact. Smile is essential, whether you're live or virtual. Be sure to smile. I saw some really nice smiles when you introduced yourselves. The research also says you have 30 to 60 seconds to make that first impression. We do business with people we like and trust, and that comes through the 55% of body language. What do we do with our hands? Everybody always wants to know what to do with our hands. Obviously, in the virtual call, they don't have as much to do as live, but again, I don't want to neglect all of you because we are going to be out in the world again one day. Be aware of your hands. If you are doing a formal presentation like the guy on top, your hands belong at your side, neutral position. Let them talk. If you're holding them, if they're in your pocket, absolutely no pockets. If they're being held together, they're not going to be expressive. And we want our hands to be expressive. Hopefully, during this presentation, you have seen a little bit of my hands be expressive because that's who I am. I want to be live and kind of with all of you. Don't fidget. Watch the fidgeting. Remember, we want to exude confidence. This does not exude confidence. None of these people, and I see it all day long. So what does your body say about you? I want you to think about head to toe what's being said. Sometimes when I ask a question to someone, they start scratching their arm. I had someone once start tying his shoe, and I said to him, I'm sure your shoelace had to be tied, but I think it's interesting that you picked exactly when I called on you to tie your shoelace. I knew, and he knew, that showed me he wasn't comfortable responding to the spontaneous question, which is something we do a lot of. So again, more than ever, body language is important. For all of you that may choose to connect, I hope go to download those tips to the telephone, 10 memorable tips to a memorable presentation. We are doing a lot of content now on body language in the virtual call, vocal presence in the virtual call, communication in the virtual call. So I'd love you all to stay connected so you either see the blogs on the website or see the content through videos or whatever. I'm very passionate about this topic because, again, as emerging leaders, I want all of you to exude confidence and break through these challenging times and be recognized.
Jayne, is now an okay time for a question on body language?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a question. How do you manage when your hands shake during a presentation because you're nervous?
Great question. And that warrants a longer conversation, but practice, 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 and more practice.
Thanks, Jayne.
Stephanie, did we get a majority of yeses or nos to the breakouts?
Oh, yes. Resounding yes. I did not get one no. They were all yeses, so I'm happy to hear that as the person who's managing them as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And since we're about to go into our last breakout, and probably the most fun, in my opinion, this is the only area that's really a little bit of a shift from live presentations. When we are live, every person gets a laminated strip that they pick, and it has a spontaneous question. Because if we are going to be strong presenters, secrets, tips, and techniques of the confident speaker, my goal is all of you can respond to any spontaneous question and still sound confident in your answer. We do a great deal of that in our training, whether it's individual or group, because I want you to always answer in a confident manner. But today, since I couldn't think of how to give everyone a different question, what we're going to do is we're going to break out into our groups, and anything from 3 to 4 or 5, Stephanie, whatever is a good number so no one's left alone.
Yep.
And all you're going to do is give your pitch, give your introduction. You now know not to drag on and ramble. Listen to, watch your listeners, connection techniques, be clear, deliver it strategically, and use good vocal power. 1 minute, present. Then you'll have the people give you feedback based on what we've discussed. Vocal power, clarity, vocal engagement, the pause. Is that enough to remember? Give honest feedback. My goal is one individual, people give feedback, we shift. I want everyone to get the opportunity to present for no more than 1 minute, because we only have a half hour to finish the whole program. So we're only going to have probably a max of 10 to 15 minutes. We'll start with 10 and we'll see as I shift and Stephanie shifts. But the most important is every single one of you gets to present and gets feedback. I will shift around as much as I can so that I can give feedback, because sometimes I have a little bit more to say than others. So does that sound good? Thumbs up. Everybody ready to go into their rooms and present? And here, I'll make it easy so we don't have to spend any time deciding who goes first, second, third, fourth. I want it to be alphabetical by the first name. So whoever, just go alphabetically so we could jump right in. All right? If there's any questions, shoot them to me. Otherwise, Stephanie will break you all out, and I look forward to visiting you in your room. While we're coming back, put comments in the chat room, how you think that was. Actually, first, just give me a yes if you thought that that was a valuable exercise. I know I had a great time with the rooms I visited. So definitely, thank you. I see those Y's coming in.
All yeses.
Awesome. Hopefully all of you got at least one tip or one point from your colleagues that was valuable feedback, and you will know going forward how to shift in the way you're presenting. That's one of my favorite exercises. I'm sorry I didn't get to all the rooms, but even when I'm live, I don't even always get to all the groups. But I love that exercise, and I hope you all found some good value in it as well. I think everyone's back. I see 31. I know we had 32, so maybe someone dropped off. So let me bring up my slide deck, and we will move forward. So let's bring it all together. I know I've shared so much with you. Think about your voice. How you say something matters twice as much as what you're actually saying. Vocal clarity and clarity of thought. I can't fit in strategic delivery of your message. So again, just think about rate of speech, how you're delivering what you're delivering. Your style, be sure you're not rambling. Be sure you're not using upspeak. You always want to exude executive presence in your communication skills, and watch your filler words, no greater than 2 in 2 minutes. I know now, if you didn't think about it before, now you all know how essential communication skills are to building you and top talent in organizations. Communication training is essential to building future leaders. And you, the future leaders, will communicate up the corporate ladder. So here's a few action items to practice. Remember, I'm the teacher giving you do this, do that. Remember to engage your listener. Communication is a two-way street. Please don't ever forget it. Tune into your listener. Whether you're on the phone, there's verbal acknowledgments, video meetings, live meetings. Engage your listener. Deliver your message strategically. One thing that I don't think anyone asked, with the rate of speech, they always say, well, it's great when I'm practicing with the marking system, but how do I do that live? The more you practice, the more it becomes natural. Hopefully you all noticed I model speaking strategically, and I don't have any markers up anywhere. It's because I've practiced, and it's about what part of what I'm saying do I want to make an impact. And the more you feel the message you're delivering, the better and easier it will be to deliver your message strategically. Use the proper tone to deliver the proper message. We didn't even spend a lot of time on tone, but again, it all just goes under how you say something matters. Be sure your body language enhances your message. Hopefully each one of you got something out of the body language tips, whether you're live in person or virtual. Again, I want you all to exude the presence of a leader. And last, always be sure to smile and connect.
Jayne, we have a quick question on that slide. Is it okay to ask that now? So someone had a very good question, because in society today, we're required to wear masks when we're outside. So how do you have any tricks for communicating in person, since we're now losing the visual cue of someone's mouth moving?
Your eyes smile, your eyes dance. The smile can still be seen. Strong voice. You know, before all this happened, we had a client from a major hospital in New York City. he was a new resident, and English is not his first language. And when he wore the mask in the operating room, they had such a hard time understanding him. And you can imagine how important that is. So when you're under the mask and having a conversation, remember the vocal power, the clarity, and the pause, even more important than ever before. Great question.
We have one more. What if your listener is monopolizing the conversation?
One of the, so they're not the listener, they're the communicator, they're the other communication partner.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things I say all the time is I can't control the rest of the world. I can only control the people I work with and I train and I present to. If someone is monopolizing, a few quick techniques, because there are a few, is to pause, let them talk. If they interrupted you when you have a break, always fair to say, as I was saying, they'll get the point, or let me continue what I was saying. Or if they're really going on and on, sometimes I literally like put my finger up and I'll say, can I just make a point? You know, I'd like to make a point. There's always, and there's no way that we can stop others from not being good communicators, being rude, dominating conversations. We just can always be responsible for being the best communicator we can be. But that's why I do put a lot of emphasis on the connection technique so we can all be better communicators.
Great. Thank you.
Every single exercise that we didn't feel natural. When people put the pause between their first name and last name, they've been saying their name for 25, 35, 40 years, right? For some of us, a little bit more. They never put a pause in. It's not natural. So that's kind of the notes to the music. Yeah. The way it becomes a magnificent song is the practice. And there is no shortcut. There is no shortcut, like that question earlier about presenting. I spoke with someone yesterday in a company who's a new presenter, and he comes off new. And I said to him, and he gets scored, just like us Vistage speakers, and he's a pretty low 3. And I said, I promise, with our training, you will get into the mid-4s. I promise. I know you could do that if you put the work in. Well, selfishly, I'd love to say, you know, get the training for them.
That's okay.
The best thing for me that's come out of this quarantine period is we always were able to do one-on-one training virtually. We've worked with people all over the globe, but we have been forced to do company group training virtually. And I'm loving it. I can't explain it, but I'm really loving the virtual group training sessions that I have going on right now. So where I used to leave a Vistage meeting and feel a little frustrated that a lot of people and companies may not take advantage of our private training, and certainly a group training, unless it was like a full day, didn't make sense. Now we really can engage anyone from around the globe in small group training. So for those people who want their teams to get training, this isn't a fast fix. You know, my book is great. It will reinforce a lot of what we talked about and so much more. But as any of us know, let's go back to the music notes and taking the notes and creating music. You can't decide you want to play the piano and sit down today and say, oh, great, I'm going to play in Carnegie Hall next month. You need the teacher, you need the training. So there's nothing like live training. And, we've got a team, so, we're able to facilitate that training for people all over the place, whether it's 2 people in a group, 5 people in a group, or a remote presentation. It's a lot of information. So to go back to your team and say to them, oh, you've got to learn how to pause, they're not going to get it in the same way that you might have gotten it from me today. In closing, I thank all of you for being with all of us today. I really, truly wish I could have been there in North Carolina. I was really looking forward to it, but it is an interesting time, and the video meetings are here to stay in some way for the foreseeable future. So really practice what we've taught, master the techniques, and exude vocal and executive presence wherever you are. I wish you all to stay very safe and very healthy during these challenging times.